Right, we have talked about germs and how the germ theory. Uh, Previously, we talked about the issue of germs causing diseases, and we saw that they are surrounding us everywhere. We need them. So today, we are going to talk about, still under the same theme, germs, good habits, and good health. We're going to talk about germs that maintain our health, germs that preserve our health, and straightway into our sharing. These germs are commonly known as the normal flora. They are commonly known as the normal flora. They make up the microbiome of every individual. These include bacteria of different kind, viruses, fungi of different kind that inhabit inside our body and all over the surface of the skin of our body. So currently, this understanding of the microbiome is getting attention all over the medical world because actually they are realizing that beyond the notion that germs cause diseases, there are microorganisms that actually preserve our health, known as the microbiome or the microbiota. So speaking about the microbiota, it is majorly what makes up the microbiome of an organism, especially inside the body. We have the lactobacillus species and we have the bifidobacterium. The bifidobacteria. Those are some of the examples of the microorganisms. These ones are majorly found inside the body, inside the gut. So, but we have other species that inhabit different parts of our body. We have also the E. coli, Escherichia coli. They are microorganisms that preserve our health. When in balance, they maintain our health, except if they are taken out of balance. So, these ones majorly inhabit our gastrointestinal tract, commonly known as the GIT. And the lactobacillus still species also inhabits our urinogenital tract or the birth canal. Speaking about the mothers, the birth canal is inhabited by the lactobacillus bacteria species. That's why a disturbance in this species is key to occurrence of this, what we call candidiasis. Yeah, sometimes candida, actually, candida people know, and many know that it is not like an invasion also, but it's an outgrowth of the candida species because of the destruction of the lactobacillus species that are normal flora there. We shall see what causes the destruction of this lactobacillus. So in the gut there, these normal flora, they maintain our health by they digest our food, especially the oligosaccharides in different plants. In different plants, they are broken down by these species to give us short chain fatty acids that are essential for the functioning of our body, essential for the brain, essential for the immunity. They synthesize vitamins good for our body. Then they block harmful pathogens from harming our body. Then they also train our immune system. So when you look at the inside of your intestinal layer, if this is your intestine, there is a layer of these microorganisms that functions in contact with the body to give you all these benefits, and they produce natural antimicrobials that shield the body against against toxic microorganisms or invaders. So they act as a physical shield for the body. They are the first line of defense. Other places like your skin is inhabited by the staphylococcus, epididymis. Then the respiratory oral is inhabited by the streptococcus, and these all, they are defenders of our bodies. They are the first line of defense. So we have said that when the microbiome is destroyed, we are likely to have overgrowth of the of things like candida, and we see very many signs of this candida. Candida is a natural inhabitant in our body, but its overgrowth is what is dangerous, and the overgrowth exhibits in things like, we may see an oral thrush. We may see white lesions in the mouth, some kind of raised creamy patches in our mouth, redness in the mouth, loss of taste because of this candida, then soreness, and we see pain in the mouth, then some slight bleeding and pain beneath the dentures. So these are some of the signs of candida. If it is in the mouth, now if the candida is in the gut, you may have things like bloating, you may have things like abdominal pain, you have things like irregular bowel movements, you have things like extreme sugar cravings. Let me talk about this. Extreme sugar cravings. Why do we have extreme sugar cravings? Fungi, which candida is an example, is consumes more sugar than the cells of the body. So for it to thrive, it needs more sugar. That's why it influences your body to love more to take sugar. And as you take sugar, it lives healthily as it disturbs you. So extreme sugar cravings, when you have candida, are caused by that love of candida to grow. The more you take the sugar, the more you give it power to grow. We may have fatigue and mucus in stool. So what are some of the causes of this candida? And maybe in women, it may be birth canal candida over vaginal candida with itching and some liquid flow that is not smelly, and many other signs. So what are the causes? What causes this candida infestation? Or what factors influence candida to overgrow? Number one, many of the people who are caught or who are found with candidiasis or the overgrowth of candida, they have a history of just a few weeks or a few months of intake of antibiotics. Now, we said these antibiotics, we have general, broad spectrum antibiotics, and those who are specific. So the broad spectrum antibiotics, they kill any microorganisms. And among the organisms they kill is the lactobacillus bifidus bacteria, which is normal flora. Now, when the normal flora dies, it gives chance for the overgrowth of candida or yeast. So history of antibiotics. Not only that, not only antibiotics alone, even steroids. Then we have oral contraceptives. These all interfere with the thriving of the microorganisms in our mouth, in our vaginal canal, in our gut. So this gives room for the overgrowth of candida. We have hormonal changes. What are these? Some of the things that cause hormonal changes, maybe during pregnancy, menopause, or birth control pills. I think I've talked about that. Then health conditions, especially conditions like diabetes, because of the much sugar, it gives room for the yeast to grow because of this much sugar. Immunity compromised immune system in HIV, all these can be key to the growth of candidiasis. We have environmental factors. So this may be maybe people who put on tight clothing, and we shall see actually one of the root causes of diseases is improper clothing. Maybe wearing clothes when you are still wet, providing that moisture, good room for the growth of yeast. Poor hygiene, all those incomplete drying, they are key to the growth of Candida species. So when that is key. Sometimes even in case of this Candida, you can heal it with just altering all those. If you have had maybe an antibiotic treatment previously, you can get some probiotics and prebiotics that can help you rebuild your gut normal flora again. So when do you acquire the normal flora? When do you acquire the normal flora? So according to Jessica Sindersach, in her book Good Germs, Bad Germs, she says we acquire our first normal flora at birth when we are showered by our parents' normal flora from the birth canal. That's when we acquire our first normal flora. Then during breastfeeding, we continue to develop our normal flora, and from the brothers and sisters who lift us as we are growing. So this normal flora continues to grow as time passes by. So that's how we acquire our normal flora right from birth. Okay. What things destroy this good normal flora? We have already seen the destroyers. One of them are antibiotics, rampant use. That's why today even WHO advises us against overuse of antibiotics. Poor diets, especially the standard American diet, which is made up of refined foods, ultra processed foods without fiber. Think about poor diets, those that don't nourish the microorganisms without fiber. You have chronic stress, alcohol, and tobacco. They are key to the destruction of our normal flora because of the toxins they produce. They cause destruction of this normal flora. Alcohol affects almost every entire cell of the body, and drugs, as we have mentioned down there, PPIs, these are proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, esomeprazole, chemotherapy, radiation. They destroy corticosteroid, maybe like hydrocortisones, something like that. So they all destroy our normal flora, yet we need this normal flora. So a child born majorly by the C-section, that is cesarean, which is not born normally, maybe born by surgery, has higher chances of missing out on this normal flora. So they miss out the first lactobacillus shower, which they would get when they are born normally. And they give room for another species to inhabit the gut lining, which should not be there. So this causes disruption. These children may have good skin microorganisms, but those which should be in their lungs, those which should be in their intestines, being obtained from the mother, are not obtained because of the way they are given birth to. And to add on that, before mothers go through this cesarean section, they are injected antibiotics, which antibiotics can cross into the placenta before birth, continuing to destroy the normal flora that this child would obtain. Remember, before they go for the C-section, they're given antibiotics for prophylaxis, preventative. So this destroys the normal flora the child would obtain. And children born in this way, they have a compromised immune system, and they have unaltered colonization. They are colonized by different microorganisms which should not be there because they didn't get the right showering of the organisms we have seen come from here. Okay, they are prone to allergies. They are prone to food allergies, this and that allergy. They are prone to, because of this missing of the normal flora, they are prone to sickness. They are always ill. They get very many illnesses. Something little can cause havoc to their lives. So that's why there's this science that is being developed, which we call vaginal swabbing, where they get fluid from the birth canal and swab it to the newborn in order for her to, or for him to obtain those microorganisms that should come from the mother. So still these children need proper breastfeeding, that the child may obtain at least those microorganisms from the breast milk to the mother. So I read about a story of one gastroenterologist called Giulia Enders, and this was her case. She was born by C-section and she missed on the microorganisms, but she reports that she suffered a lot more to do with allergies and over infection, until when she realized this and she started to culture her gastrointestinal normal flora, eating those foods that are rich, the fermented foods, the plant-based foods, which have fiber to culture the organisms that are needed to be there. So gut bacteria is destroyed by antibiotics, by poor diets, ultra-processed foods, refined sugars, alcohol, artificial sweeteners, such as high fructose corn syrup. They are dangerous. They destroy our gut flora. Now, when gut flora is destroyed, this may give room to the development of the bacteria we talked about, Clostridioides difficile, which grows because of the destroyed gut microorganisms. And some of the symptoms may include diarrhea, may include belly cramps. If severe, you have dehydration, nausea, you have increased white blood cell count, loss of appetite, you have kidney function which is impaired, you may have weight loss, you may have blood opus in stool, that is Clostridioides infestation, swollen belly, and many other challenges. So the risk factors are still the same. These are the risk factors that cause Clostridioides difficile infestation. Even the use of PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, they cause a reduction in the production of the hydrochloric acid, which is found in the stomach. And in reduced or absence of this acid, we are working for disease, nothing else. So, how do I promote the growth of my gut microbiome? You eat majorly plant foods which are fiber filled. I think the man who wrote the book Fiber Fueled chronicles this very well. As we shall study about fiber, we will talk about more of that. Prioritize fiber-rich foods. Eat prebiotics, probiotics to culture this gut microbiome. Fermented foods. Alter your lifestyle. Do exercise. Hydration. Sleep on time. Cut out, reduce that stress. How do you respond to your stressful condition? Is very key to culture these microorganisms or the microbiome in your gut. Remember, all disease, nearly 70% of disease starts in the gut, and much of this comes because of the destruction of the normal flora. You do well to culture that normal flora. May God bless you as we meet in the next one.